Welcome to the Neuro Air podcast, the show for cycle breakers, parents, young adults, and helping professionals ready to understand their nervous system through a generational lens, heal what isn't theirs to carry, and consciously choose what comes next. Hi, I'm your host, Leanna Hunt, an associate clinical mental health counselor and certified performance coach. Each week, you'll get stories, science, and somatic practices, plus my signature 4N framework: notice, name, nurture, and navigate, to help you honor resilience, break silence, and build deeper connection with yourself and those you love, all while shaping a legacy of safety, freedom, and possibility. Welcome back to the Neuro Air podcast. I'm really excited today because I have my husband, David, here.
On screen telling, right? Just
My sidekick and my best friend. Is kind of interesting because we were just laying in bed and he's just said, "You're my best friend." And I thought about that and realized I don't think there was a lot of years that we actually said that about
We weren't.
the other person.
We've been working on that option for a while.
Yeah.
This is true.
Working on becoming best friends. So I brought David
Again.
here today to just kind of talk about, we've been together for a really long time. We met
Feels like forever.
Feels like forever. How old was I? And how old were you?
You were 20. I was 22.
Uh-huh.
We were babies.
But
very, I don't know. I grew up in the 80s. So, I've been hardened. What's the word? I was mature for my age. Let's just say, no, I wasn't.
So yes, we got married very young. We've been married 25 years. And so I wanted David to come on today to just bring his perspective kind of in our own journey and how this understanding of the nervous system, how it's impacted him, how it's impacted our relationship. And for those of you that are listening and maybe wondering, okay, this is really interesting to me, I can't see my spouse ever getting on board. That's why I brought David on, just to get a man's perspective.
A man's perspective, huh?
Yeah.
Convince all these guys that they can get on board? No, I'm not going to do that. And I'm not going to do it very well if I am, believe me.
Okay, so let's start from the beginning. When you think about our early years of marriage, how did we handle conflict?
Oh, so amazing. It was fight or flight. I don't know, is it bad to say that I had to come from a perspective that I felt I always had to defend myself with you.
Uh-huh.
And you tended to fly away or go very quiet. So when we were talking about like that last episode about silence, and I was like, well, what do you mean by silence? You're talking about it as a weight. I'm talking about it as a cut or maybe a hurt or something that pulled at me and gave me a lot of, especially in those early years, gave me a lot of difficulty. I'm a talker. You get me going in the right time and I'll talk. And that's how I manage things. How I have conversations in my head all the time. We like each other. It's fun. But I couldn't talk to you there. And that was probably the hardest parts of our early years, was we weren't able to, what we know now, regulate ourselves. We weren't able to stay calm enough to hear each other. And that was hard.
That's a really good point. I don't think we heard each other for a really long time. And now looking back, would you agree that you would get with your anxiety, especially when it connected to our relationship?
Saying I have anxiety? What? That was a prequel. All right. Yeah, keep going.
Would you agree that you lived more in fight? And like you already said about me, and I said in the last episode, I know freeze and flight very, very well.
Yeah, you do. You didn't freeze very much with me. You flew.
Okay, yeah.
You had wings. You had wings and you had a cave, you hid. There was a lot of that.
So as we kind of put that in context to my childhood and my experiences, I kind of explained, just as a reminder for everybody listening, that for me, I could never assess my dad's mood because if he wasn't yelling, I could still sense his body language, his tone. Yeah. And so I never knew what to do in that moment. And we were talking about that when there's not language from our parents or caregivers to explain what was happening, which I think for a lot of us, that's pretty much the case growing up in the 80s, right?
Okay.
That then I made that mean something was wrong with me when I couldn't predict my dad's moods.
Yeah.
So how do you think that showed up for you in your childhood?
Which part? Kind of the uncertainty of things?
Yeah, that maybe kind of got you to the point. So when we got married, that put you in the fight mode.
I don't know. Maybe let's dive into that a little bit. My childhood was pretty, I don't know. I look back at it and it was pretty chill, but I was the youngest. My parents were 60 years old when they were trying to run after me. I remember times when I could look at them and I'm like, hey, you can't catch me. You want to get me in trouble? You can't catch me. And I was gone. I could run with that. But I also witnessed a lot of conversation in my life. I think that became the way that if there was something there, I would see talking as a way out, I guess. I didn't quite find out how to search for safety and have an awareness of that. Like, that's a weird thing. Maybe from a guy's perspective or whatnot, even looking through all that we've done now, it's tougher for me to explain, honestly. Give me some more cues. Let's dive into this a little bit more. You can do your little therapy thing on me. And let's see a little episode of Welcome to Dave's Mind.
Okay, so let's go through when we were first married and we didn't know how to communicate. What did silence mean to you? Because I shut down.
Silence meant, oh, okay, then it meant something was wrong with me, that I was in trouble. Maybe punishments that I had were go to your room or
As a child.
have things removed. That sometimes the silence was a bit more scary because everyone talked around me. I remember being a little aware of that coming into your family too, like silence. And for me, that it just meant it was something unsteady, uncertain, fearful, wasn't sure what was going to happen. And I didn't like that. I liked certainty. And maybe you call that safety, but I like more of a certainty. Like, I am certain that there is this, or I'm certain that, if I wake up and go outside, mow the lawn, I'm good. There's certainty to that.
So silence meant uncertainty.
Correct.
Okay.
And that was disarming to me. I did not like it. I still don't. Right. It's like, hey, if I can't figure out that certainty, then there's something wrong with me or something wrong in the environment. And I need to work on fixing that.
So how's that now, just to say that out loud when we both realize, okay, silence meant uncertainty to you?
How's that feel?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Welcome to the club. I'm happy you know that now. So stop being quiet. So when you do your little, I need time, I got to take it away, and you take away any conversation, there's uncertainty now. And guess what? I'm sitting here waiting. I would like some certainty. Hey, how can we help this?
So let me ask you then, from your own childhood, did you experience uncertainty? Didn't know parents' moods or what they were going through, and you're trying to figure out, like,
did I care?
Here's the youngest child versus the oldest child.
Yeah, no, that wasn't there. I had uncertainty and maybe I don't know. Not really. I didn't have a whole ton of that. So that's why it was new to have that silence, to have either the maybe love removed from me, if we called it that, a withdrawal, or a silence. That was new to me. It was new to marriage. Something, at 22 years old, I didn't know. Because even on different experiences through my life, you go in and, do a service mission and you sit and talk with a person who's stuck with you 24 hours a day. If they were quiet, ooh, that wasn't good. I would talk my way through that.
Okay, so even then, that was before me.
Yeah,
you didn't like silence.
There was life before you, and I did not like silence then too. If there's one thing I could have done, hey, let's get married. Do you tend to cold shoulder? It's a deal breaker. Sorry, honey, you may be good looking and beautiful, but we're gonna pass.
Okay,
no,
so
I didn't ask that question.
So that's interesting. But no, just the point is that, okay, so you already knew that silence meant uncertainty before you met me.
Yeah, in those words.
What was modeled for you growing up with your parents as far as, like, if you got in trouble, was there attempted repair? Like, how did you know that things were okay?
My mom would come in, check on me. That was always a beautiful thing, a very nice thing. My dad, he'd kind of slowly work around to it, and then he'd put his hand on my shoulder or something like that. I could remember those times. I could remember being worried about what his thoughts were. Like, he was probably more the slow, frustrated type, and I didn't like that. But my mom would always come in afterwards, and she'd seek the repair. She'd be like, okay, you gotta do better than this. You just can't let this happen. And couple times it was, I didn't tell your dad about this, so you better figure your stuff out. And that was
I think
big
that's one of
too.
the things that David loves his mom the most.
The things she didn't know, those $400 phone bills to people who didn't live, that were girls who didn't live in my city. That was fun.
I don't think if you're a young adult, you have no idea what
Long
a
distance.
landline
Yeah,
phone bill
right?
is.
Yep. Still have it.
Okay, so that's really interesting. So then when we were newlyweds, I don't know, I guess even into what, 10 years, 15 years?
Yeah, I don't know. If we're 25, probably the last 17, 18 years. I mean, really through a lot of ups and downs, through houses moving, changes, whenever there was strife, we would try and talk about it, and then it would become so difficult. We'd go quiet. I don't know. How did we repair? What are your first recommend? Like those conversations, long conversations driving to California when we were in Utah, and the ones our kids still tell us about that were hard. We would be fighting or upset with each other. How did we repair? What was that?
I think I've learned a lot. So, okay, so I just in my everyday life, as you've watched my nervous system and like now that you know the language that I was really living for a lot of time, especially with chronic illness stuff, I was living mostly in flight, would you say?
Oh, yeah.
Experienced some times of freeze, which I don't think we'll go into that today. But I think that what I found was easiest, especially when we were arguing, was that I would try to bypass my emotions and try to just make sure that you were okay, which is appeasement. And I didn't know at the time that that's what that was.
That it didn't exist if you don't have the words for it. But yeah, I could see that. And probably on my side, I didn't pause long enough. I don't know. You kind of sense that that's happening to you. Like, oh, you're just saying sorry. I remember us having that conversation. You would say sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry for this, or I'm sorry. And I was like, don't say sorry if you don't mean it. Those kinds of words. We would have those discussions. And it wasn't until, last years of when we're healing and becoming better that we can then pause, and I'll look at you and be like, okay, what is it you really need to say to me to help us move through this? And in that, then it stopped becoming a fight with us where I needed to defend myself and you needed to defend yourself. And what happens on the other side when both of us put our guns down and we lay our weapons of fight away and can actually be like, okay, hey, yeah, tell me what really bothered you. And then I can clarify. There was a lot of times now.
We didn't know what clarification meant.
Right. There's all these communication things. There's a lot of good stuff and resources out there for communication, and consuming that has really helped calm us in a way to where we can have conversations again. So that's cool.
So it's really just been, what did we say? The last 7 years, maybe, where we really started to dive into our relationship. But we had to learn, I think both of us, that the other person can't fix the other person.
Yeah.
And I think that was really hard at first. Would you agree?
Yeah. I would think just kind of, if I get in trouble for this, that's great. Let's see on screen what happens. But like, it was you also realizing and feeling like you could hear and respect sometimes that your flight and all of that noise that you had internally wasn't exactly the truth of what I was trying to communicate with you. So I learned to pause and be safe enough. Instead of me being upset, realizing what your background was when you had a frustrated, angry feeling and or environment, that wasn't going to let you listen at all or heal or change. So once I learned to calm myself, so in that sense, I calmed my own storm, I calmed my own environment, and then said, no, this is really how I felt, or this is when this happened, this is how I felt. And now you had data points that were safe for you to recognize and take in. Kind of like sitting down, I imagine maybe with what you do in therapy, you have a safe environment where someone could express how they feel. The other person can actually finally hear it.
Yeah.
And we started creating that more. Those were kind of like I remember some of the ones like our Park City retreat that we did years ago. We just walked up and we were hiking, and it was kind of like the first time being out in nature and in what I felt was a safer environment.
That's always been safe for you,
Yeah.
being outside.
I've always liked that. I've always gotten away as a kid. Even that was where I would be gone for 5, 6 hours. I had my little Vienna sausage and a little hunting knife and some water. I was good to go for hours, and my mom didn't know where I was.
Oh,
It
so
felt
maybe
weird.
a little flight in David too.
No, it wasn't a flight. It was a refuge. It was me finding a peace with all the things that were going on with me. So once I did that and took time with you with that, we started having better conversations. I felt you started hearing me,
Mm-hmm.
which is really cool. But it wasn't because I told you in a way,
I had to
like,
figure it
I
out.
wasn't convincing. It was more, I was okay to explain it, and you accepted that peaceful place, that it wasn't as scary, and you didn't need to fight or become dormant or quiet or whatever it is, those words you use.
So that's an interesting thing, just a reminder about fight or flight. Like when we look at the brain, like when that amygdala is really thinking that there's physical threat. Okay. So if we look back thousands of years ago, physical threat was needed in a much more intense capacity as it is today, because there wasn't houses, there wasn't cars,
Yeah.
there wasn't grocery stores, there wasn't cell phones, right? All of those things. And so when you're in fight and I'm in flight, there's no connection that can happen when we're both out of our window of tolerance.
Yeah.
Because that emotional part of the brain is so loud and it's literally thinking, how do I survive? So if the brain is in that point of actual survival, then it's thinking again, it's like, how do I fight my way through this? How do I fly out of here? How do I freeze, attempt to play dead? Or how do I bypass everything that I need so that the other person can feel a sense of calm in themselves and then I don't have to show up? Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So once you started learning about the nervous system, did that help in these stages when you could see yourself in fight or see me in flight? Because, for me with flight, David will tell you for years, I was checking the clock. I was looking for the exits. I was trying to find a way out of the room, out of the conversation,
Oh,
anything,
ma'am, you were not getting away.
anything to fly away. And so if my brain is literally in that state, there's no way that I can attempt repair.
No.
And that
Or
just drove,
communicate with me or
right.
tell me or listen that
Mhm.
really what I said, you heard I'm a terrible this, or this. And I was actually saying, that'd be really great if you didn't do this, or it hurt my feelings when
Mhm.
you mentioned this casually. And now I'm feeling withdrawn myself.
Right. So once
So,
you started understanding the nervous system through our work, through my work, through your own journey, how did that impact our communication skills?
well, it was so much stronger. I was able to kind of stop and pause. And it wasn't just like because I knew about the window of tolerance. That was actually more, or like even the work you were doing. It was even well before that we kind of, maybe you talk about that like as a motivator to become better, as a motivator to change. We all have like this inner feeling, I think, that we want to be better. We want progress. Our most unhappy moments are when we feel hopeless and helpless to
Mm.
be able to make those positive changes in our lives, right? So I had always been wanting to do better or be better, knowing that I felt good on the other side of that improvement. So us searching for that and knowing that, that's really what became more of the change. And now we've been like, that was the motivation. And then inside now we gave it words.
Because we didn't have the words.
We didn't have the words there, but we gave those words of definition and everything else that we were looking for. So I think to answer that question is you start with your inner desire, and it's kind of like a God-given gift almost, that progress is the whole meaning of this life. And if we are not progressing, we are not going to be happy and thriving.
Mhm.
I wanted that with us. I searched for that with us. And you and I both are stubborn enough. We didn't give up in those times when we felt hopeless. We felt despair at not being able to see the beauty around and what a relationship could be really what it was. It was work. And I remember telling that to young kids and other people who I was around, that marriage is a lot of work. But when you put in that effort, it gives you some really big reward.
A lot of work.
Yeah.
So now that let's bring in for a few minutes. So years ago, I remember from a mentor, I was given a book, High Performance Habits by Brendan Burchard.
Mhm.
That was followed with The Big Leap. So I remember was that 2018 that I read these two books and I shared them with you. And I remember thinking that was the first time in my whole life where I remember reading these books and I was like, whoa, I have a mindset that can change. I just didn't know that before,
Mm.
that I could become anything I wanted to be. And that was such a new concept to me. And I remember sharing the books with you.
You remember?
And at that point, we had not really done any type of consistent personal development. We didn't have that growing up. It wasn't really a thing. And so this was really new for us. So do you remember kind of just what that was like when you and I both started really thinking about what could it be like for us if we started to grow our mindsets?
Yeah, it was at for me, I remember the Provo Rec Center when you were reading that book.
Oh,
We were at a party for one of the orthodontists in the area, and he had rented that out. And you were reading The Big
oh,
Leap and The
oh.
Zone of Genius
Mm-hmm.
and all of those. So operating at that, it really kind of became more of like a sunrise for us. Light started coming in,
Mm-hmm.
where we became more hopeful, having more positivity and more strength for what we were doing. So can't cry right. Come on, keep going.
Okay, so since then, David and I kind of made this deal that
Sure. There's negotiation here. I like that.
we made an agreement that we would always be on a learning path.
Yeah.
And
We
how
co-
has
we
that
committed
how has
to
that
that.
shown up since 2018 for us now?
It's awesome.
Awesome.
It's been fun to remind you. From that point of view, that's probably not the most effective way to communicate. Let's just say that. Reminding your wife of all the many things that she promised to do is never a winning argument. But yeah, it's been great. It's actually been a good reminder for me, like, okay, yeah, I can't stop. I can't give up, and I can't watch you grow and me not grow. So it's like our little tag along, like we have these our really good friends have great rituals and things, and we follow that a little bit to ours as well, that here we are working together, and if you stop, I got to stop, and I don't want to stop and you don't want to stop, so let's keep going.
Mm-hmm.
So it becomes we're kind of more tied equally in the same boat. I don't always like the oxen analogy because that's old and I don't know what an oxen really does, but
What's the boat analogy for you?
but just rowing together. If I stop rowing and you keep rowing, man, we're going to go in circles.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be not that easy.
Mm-hmm.
If you're on the wrong side of the boat, we're both on the side. There is an equal ballast, and we're going to sink, or the ship isn't going to be able to manage the different storms that come up. So.
Well, it's really been an incredible journey since then. Sometimes I look back at our life and I realize sometimes I'm like, I don't even recognize those versions of us anymore.
No, it's different. I still recognize them, and sometimes oh man,
Man, was rough.
Yeah, little bit. That's definitely true. But it is good to kind of see and feel the motivation that comes once you kind of get to know yourself. I think that's a higher level of understanding. And once you know yourself and the things that make you tick, also the things that you can change and do better, and small little incremental changes are pretty huge.
I love that because it's really, if we look back, it wasn't just like one big defining moment. It was a lot of little things that we did consistently, like our physical habits with exercise and sleep, and our mindset work of personal development and growth. We attend personal development events together.
Yeah.
We're both working on our businesses. We are growing spiritually. So we're trying to do all these things to build this foundation. What would you say to someone listening who feels like, okay, I'm doing all this growth and I don't know how to get my partner on board? Just from your own experience.
That's hard because I definitely could be in that position. I mean, if you're growing and you're telling me that I need to grow, that's kind of a cut. It's hard for me. It's definitely going to be a hard, like I'm going to feel like I need to protect myself. So I don't know if you can go up and be like, hey, you need to do a better job here because I'm really good and you suck. But at the same time, maybe it's rooted in gratitude and love and service. A lot of that, it's hard to kind of pull out an answer to that question. Like, oh, here's the one answer, and let's put that on Instagram and make it a nice little pretty post. Who would do that? Nevertheless, it becomes though something that that we teach that brings happiness. So what brings you joy, and being grateful for that, and finding ways to serve and serve the other person.
Mhm.
I'm not really qualified as a relationship counselor, but I just have relationships. And I know that I do better when I have let go of a lot of the drama and stuff, the rocks in my backpack, as I tell people. I lighten myself, and then I find gratitude and find ways to serve and love people. I think we need a bit more of that here in this world.
Mm-hmm.
We need to be loving. My mom would always say, be loving, sweet, and kind. And there, I'll throw that out there, that even with everything that goes on, that we can still find time for that.
I think that's a really good point. And just kind of like we talk about in therapy or in coaching, if we're looking at, we want to improve relationships, I'll kind of tie that in and see what you think about it, that we have to get to the point that we in some way prioritize our own wellness first. It's kind of like the oxygen mask concept.
I don't know if I love like prioritize your own wellness, because then it feels like I'm deoritizing. I don't know if that, it's not a word, but down regulating the other person. But because I think you can do both. I think you can have it be, I just probably would say, have it be more important, or have it be important for you to find yourself and heal yourself, work on yourself, and find love for yourself and gratitude. And as you do that, then it's easier for the other person to have a place to do that as well.
Yeah, I like that. So
I don't know.
He's not going to like this term, because
go
so does that mean you're in a sense holding space
Yeah, no,
for your partner?
Because I'm not holding that space. I am that space, I guess I would say. Like, I'm not holding space for you, because then it's like I'm pausing all of my things. That's where I have a hard time with that.
So not putting your own life on hold either.
No, I'm not. I'm still progressing with you. I am just recognizing that I contribute to what's going on, and how am I? And if my blood pressure's up, all of the physical things that we feel, and the emotional drama, if I have all that, how can I be better with you? If I have too many rocks in my backpack, how can I talk about what you're carrying, or let you carry that? So get rid of my rocks. That doesn't mean I have to like, hold, let's time out. We're not going to hike anymore. I'm prioritizing my time while you're sitting there suffering and doing stuff. I get that. But for all the guys out there too, I mean, if like, you're like, hey, let's do this. Let's go on date night. Let's go better. Hold, I'm going to, take 3 hours to do this or that. And you're like, whoa, I want to go and be with you.
Well, I'm on the same page. That's really what I
That's
meant.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a long way around that. Sorry. Guys.
So as we kind of wrap up, how are our arguments now?
What arguments? We don't have arguments.
We actually, it's funny because we rarely do.
We have negotiations. Yeah.
No, but compared to what it was 25 years ago.
Yeah, they're way better. They're shorter. We still have them, obviously, but they're shorter. They're less hurty.
Charged,
sure. That's a word. Yeah, they're less charged, they're less electrical, but like they're less fiery. Sometimes they're still hot. Like we still get like, I still feel like I'm putting my foot down, or I'm trying to really explain this. And, sometimes I'll raise my voice like I do, and you'll cry a little bit like you do. But it doesn't stick. That's kind of what's nice. It's kind of like we got a little Teflon going, so it's a lot less burdensome. It's not like we stack and store the drama into our lives. We let that go.
The drama.
Sure.
It's been amazing, and it's just really cool to be able to sit and say you're my best friend.
Is it over now? I mean, it's been amazing. Like, here, the run's done.
No, we're gonna, as we wrap up the episode, something I haven't really shared to anybody, but about a month ago, we were in the middle of finishing our house renovations. Our house was a disaster because we were redoing our laundry room, our pantry, and our bedroom.
Right.
So and all the places.
And I love that word that you just used, that we finished our renovations.
Okay. For the time being, they're done.
Oh, no, I got it on record.
But I was in his truck. We were trying to show up to our son's volleyball tournament, and I had a small panic attack, and I haven't had one.
Okay, keep going.
I haven't had one in probably about 10 years. And the coolest thing about us both deciding to work on ourselves is, I just want you to know that I felt that you were able to like just be there for me. And I don't know how that would have been years ago, because you didn't make it about you.
I would have been so annoyed.
You didn't get.
I would have been. Yeah, so, there would have been a whole lot of other things.
So this is what happened, if that's okay. So he pulled the truck over. He made me get out of the truck. He came out. around the side. I didn't want to do any of these things. He stayed calm. He was regulated. There's a lot of people that
Yeah,
experience
they
a lot of
do. And
panic
it's,
attacks.
I'm smiling because it's like I've seen it and I feel it.
And so he came out of the truck, came around. He put his hand on my chest right here to regulate my breath. He had me do some tapping. He knew how to guide deep belly breaths because in our journey, we've taken somatic breathwork training classes. We've practiced breathwork. He was able to use a calm tone. He knew I needed to walk because everyone's nervous system is so different. Not everyone needs all these things when they're experiencing this level of fight in the nervous system, but he knows me so much now that he knew I needed this combination of walking, of breathing, of quiet words and reassurance, doing some tapping, and I was able to regulate again. And I was just so grateful that my partner could show up in a way that he's worked so much on himself that none of that meant that I was ruining his day or that I was a disappointment or any of those things. And he took those 20 minutes to help me come back into my body. And the repair afterwards was just really beautiful. So
It took more than 20 minutes, but that's okay.
it took the time. So just kind of wrapping up, just kind of what are you feeling about this whole journey of our life? And even me just sharing that about what you were able to help me do.
Well, it's a lot of gratitude and excitement and kind of like future pacing a little bit for me, if that's a word. I don't know if
It
I'm
is
just
yeah.
mixing in ideas, but
Mhm.
it gives me hope and excitement for the future. You are a very complex machine, and I appreciate that. You're a bit of a Ferrari, where a lot of mechanical things, but it's very well put together. And I
What
think
car
I
are
kind of
you?
I have no idea yet. I'm still trying to find that out. Probably a bit louder. I'd go with Aston Martin or something
Okay.
else exciting. But like we have this opportunity now moving forward to have more hope and kind of like the sky's the limit. Like you've heard, there's a lot of cliches coming to mind, but that one does ring true that there is going to be better things for us yet to come.
Better things to come.
Yet.
Yet to come.
Yes, if they were my words.
Well, thank you.
Hey, you're welcome. I'm glad you found me. It's been, you grabbed me out of, gave me all of like 5 minutes to prep for this. I love it. It was good. So,
Well, we'll do another deep dive as we kind of talk about some of those rituals and things that help us grow individually and also together. So hopefully this leaves you guys something to think about your own nervous system, how it's really hard to try to repair when two dysregulated nervous systems are showing up together. And that working on your regulation, as David said, with through love and gratitude, maybe for yourself and also for your partner, can also help set that example and the mood and tone in your home. Because remember, safety is something that has to be felt. It's not something that when we tell somebody that they're safe, that they're going to believe it. So as we work on ourself, as we work on our regulation, I feel like that kind of extends, it's like this invitation to see that safety is possible.
I think once people, it's like walking into that room, into that favorite place, whether it's, whatever building it is that you've ever been in, those old buildings and the places that we go, or even into nature. Once you walk into it, you open the door, you step out, you hit the trail, and the minute the forest kind of comes around you just a little bit, things change. And I think that's that same invitation that we can create for each other by being better regulated, by being more open and honest with ourselves. We then invite those around us to have that place too. We can become our own little sanctuaries for each other.
We can. And that as we become that own sanctuary, I really truly believe it's like we send an invitation to our partners, our children, our family that is possible for them too. So, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks everybody. And until next time.
Ciao.
Ciao.